Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review, and back to reviewing the Rush Hour movies. Now we're going to the last one in this trilogy, and then that is of Rush Hour 3, released in 2007. Now, Rush Hour 3, what did I say? It's a major step down. Right off the bat, it's a major step down from the first two movies, because the first one I love. It's a classic. Second film I enjoyed just a fraction a bit more. Fun, enjoyable sequel. This though, I was more underwhelmed and very disappointed. But there is a couple of things there is a couple of positives I did like. Some of the humor I did like. Some of it, right? Like right off the bat, I like the sequence in when they were in the dojo. You know, all of a sudden they get in the fight with this big, giant Chinese guy, and Chris Tucker is like, he's like, whoa, damn, and they get a little fun little tussle with that guy. So that one I thought was pretty funny. Or later when they're interrogating this one Chinese guy who speaks French, right? And Chris Tucker is like, what kind of Chinaman speaks French? Tell him to stop playing. And Jack is like, how can I tell him? I'm going to speak French. And Chris Tucker's like, no, you're Asian. Stop humiliating yourself. That I thought was pretty funny. And then when she has we have this nun to translate the French, right? And then, like, the Asian guy is like, is saying to them, is like, oh, this guy, he called you the N word, and he's telling them, and Chris Tucker's telling him, you tell this piece of S word because she's a nun, right? Or when they're pointing to Jackie Chan, and it's like, I think English is spelled with an A, and then it's like, I can read a dictionary, and Jackie Chan says, just call him an asshole. So that I thought was pretty funny. So there's still some humor that I still thought was still funny, like those I just said, But what was a step down is just the action. I thought was a step down of the first, especially the first two movies. I thought it was just like much of a step down, and I mean Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, like their chemistry what they had with each other from the first two movies, I thought was great. Here I thought it was like a little bit step down as well. I mean they're still trying because. Not only did they come back, but also director Ratner, he comes back. And for some reason, this film costed a lot more than the first two movies combined. This cost pretty much $140 million. How could this film? I don't see how this film cost that much money. Well, I think maybe majority because the payment went towards Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, and director Brett Ratner. I think that was the majority of it, though. But other than that, though, I don't see how this film cost $140 million. And the film didn't make more in the second film. The second film was still the highest grossing one in this trilogy. Yeah, this film surpassed the first film just a little bit, but not much. So yeah, that was kind of a step. So even the box office was a step down from the second film as well. And critics, and then critics were much more harsher than the second film did as well. Yeah, so Rush Hour 3 I was just let down. That's why it's not a major end. I was just disappointed in it. Other than some of the stuff positives I said though, but more of it is that in this one was it Tezzy Ma who's the Chinese ambassador? He comes back as well. He's only in this for a little bit though, and they're at the court, and you have Max von Sydow. He's the head of the World Court, and Max von Sydow passed away last year. May he rest in peace. Yeah, I like Max von Sydow. He's been, like I said, a shitload of movies over his career. Like people mostly well know him for playing as Father Merrin in The Exorcist. He's been in many movies. And, he passed away last year. May he rest in peace. I like Max von Sydow. And, although it was an instant giveaway, I already knew he was a bad guy because I can read right through him. He was going to be a bad guy, and by the end he was. No surprise there. But the ambassador gets shot. Jackie Chan chases this guy, Kenji, who turns out to be his adopted brother. And he's played by Hiroyuki Sanada, which I've seen him in other movies as well. I recognize him too. I know he was in that movie, the horror sci-fi film Life, with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds. He was in a 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves. Mr. Holmes with Ian McKellen. He had a small role in Avengers Endgame. He was one of the Yakuza that Jeremy Ratner killed. I mean, that was a waste of him. He was wasted in Avengers Endgame. I thought he'd be like a much more another. Oh, he's gonna be in that movie, but then he was in only a small part, so that was a waste of him. But yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada. I know he's been in other films as well. But he shot the ambassador. He's Lee's adopted brother. That when Lee tells Chris Tucker that he was in the Yakuza killed his family in Tokyo, so he was sent to China in this orphanage that Jackie Chan grew up with. So he said he was like his brother, so he was like kind of like still protected him. But and they go to the hospital. Philip Baker Hall has a cameo appearance. You know, he was the police captain from the first movie. He only has a cameo in this one scene here. And then Soo Young comes in, which she's much more older now, and that's when they go to the dojo for finding clues. And that's basically the fun. I thought it was a fun. I think to me it was like the best part of the movie. Yeah, to me it was the best part of the movie. It was the whole fight with the giant Chinese guy in the dojo. To me, that was the best part of the movie. Even my mother, she thought that was pretty funny because she liked that scene. Like with the guy and steps on Chris Tucker's foot. It's like, my bunions. And then like when he lifts both Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, twirling them around. And then you get that like the master of the dojo. You get another bit of Abbott Costello. You know, like, oh, who are you? You, not me. You. That's what I just said. Are you blind? No. You are you deaf? No. You was blind. You know, so that's another take on that, which that was like in the second film. You know, do you understand the word coming out of my mouth? So yeah. So that big humor I thought was funny, but then the hospital with the guy who speaks French. Then they go to France, which, yeah, granted different setting, like the second film where sometimes it was in Hong Kong, then Las Vegas. Here it's in France. Granted different setting, I would say, but when they get to France, they meet director Roman Polanski. Now, I have nothing to say about what he did in real life, which is why years ago he was banished from America. That's why he's only been appearing in other like foreign movies or wherever it takes place. Wherever he's at in other countries. So wherever all the things he did, that's why he's banished from America. But Roman Polanski as a director, I'm not really big on him as a director. I mean, The Ninth Gay with Johnny Depp, not a fan of. I mean, some people think that his best film was Rosemary's Baby, which I have not seen in a long time, so I can't judge on that film. But other films, I remember most of the other films, but I wasn't really big on. So I'm not really a big fan of director Roman Polanski. So it was just, did he really bring him in this? No. So yeah, he tears it with them, and then goes, puts the rubber glove on and says, "Welcome to Paris." And then, he puts the rubber glove on, basically stuck his finger up both their asses, basically. Yeah. Then they meet with this cab by the name of George, this taxi driver named George, which that's another thing. I did not care for the George character, the taxi driver. I didn't care for him at all. He's because he hates Americans, and all that. Then Chris Tucker puts a gun to him, makes him sing the national anthem. And then all of a sudden, later on, he's now totally fine with it because Chris Tucker says, "Oh, you watch American movies? Okay, you're a super spy. Now drive this like a super spy." And then all of a sudden, he's just so all for American stuff. Like he puts on a Lakers cap and he's drinking Starbucks. And then by the end of the movie, he kills the main villain. He shoots Max von Sydow, which like I said, we already knew he was a bad guy anyway, but he shoots Max von Sydow in the back, and he says, case closed. But I didn't give a shit about him, basically. But he's one he kills the main bad guy, so... So I didn't care for him. Then they go, I forgot to mention, the whole... Was the bad guys plan in this one? This one's even lamer than the previous. I didn't care about the whole bad guy plan. They're looking for someone with which they thought was a person by the name of Shai Shin, which is actually a list of it's a list of names, but it's been passed on to a person generation to generation. I didn't give a damn by the whole. In this one, I didn't give a damn about the whole bad guy plan. It's the whole triads, the Shai Shin thing. I didn't give a damn about the plot of the villain's plot in this. Well, you don't expect the Rush Hour films for their bad guys plot anyway. It's only mainly for Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, right? But the other two, compared to the other two villains, like from the first two movies, like Tom Wilkinson and Ken Leon, I liked them. The second film, John Lone and Zhang Ziyi, I thought they were decent villains as well. Here, I like Max von Sydow, but he's a nothing villain. And Hiroyuki Sanada, who plays his Lee's adopted brother, he was the lame villain as well. They get caught, they broke the sewers, they escape, they go down the sewer, and then they get into a fight, which I forgot to mention in the beginning of the movie, which already, like when Chris Tucker is doing traffic duty, he calls Jackie Chan up. How about at the end of Rush Hour 2, they're going to New York, and like Jackie says, I always want to see Madison Square Garden. And he was like, who liked, what was her name? Rosalie Sanchez, who played the Secret Service agent Isabella. He kind of liked her. And then after this, I guess the whole thing, this takes place 3 years after Rush Hour 2. Because at the beginning, when he's calling Jackie Chan, talk about 3 years ago. And regarding in New York, because that was the end of the second film. So, and tell her that Chris Tucker, he screwed things up between the two of them. And I was like, wait, she got shot? And then she's like, he's always working. So he goes, working at El Pollo Loco. So he screwed up the relationship between him and her. So that's another thing. That's okay. That's a letdown. Okay, because he was liking her in the second film. And then we got that, and then forgot to mention that. What else was I saying? Then they get into another argument with each other because they're arguing about Kenji's brother and Jackie Chan's like, "Oh, you're not my brother." So then, but Chris Tucker, he walks out, he's in the streets and he sees on television, he's watching, there's Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, and then Max von Sydow talks to Jackie Chan a little bit about the Shang, whatever. Then they find the person who was a woman at this ball. And they do a little singing, which honestly, my mother, honestly, my mom thinks that Jackie Chan his singing is not that bad, really enough. And to be honest, although Jackie Chan, he doesn't sing that badly, I thought he was decent singing though. But if you want to hear him singing, listen to him sing in Chinese of the version of "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan. There's a the music video of him singing that "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan in Chinese. So Jackie Chan has a decent singing voice, but the whole scene itself of him singing, I just didn't care for. Although my mother, like I said, he does a decent job singing. So, but the whole scene I just didn't care for. So they found out that she's a Shai Shin. She shows the list. She's wearing a wig. Then they have the whole thing where they go to the Eiffel Tower, fight with Kenji. This is not that decent of a fight, really, with Jackie Chan and Kenji. Hiroyuki Sanada. It's CGI, with the whole setting is CGI, because they're not really showing on the Eiffel Tower, so... And then Chris Tucker is fighting some other henchmen. Okay. Like, when they fight with her, go a couple punches, he gets fight with a chair. And then at the end, he's dancing to Everyone Was Kung Fu Fighting. Like, so the action in this is just like, it's a step down from the first two movies. I mean, it's Rush Hour 2 with the massage parlor was much better choreographed and well shot, better than this action scene here. I mean, and then with Chris Tucker saves Soo Young, who got kidnapped, and then you have this bad guy woman who was that's how I mentioned she's in one ear and out the other, because she was like in something I've seen before, Fighting with Jackie Chan. So yeah, she's a villain. A nothing villain in one ear, out the other. That's how much she's important in this. But she gets caught in a wheel, dies, and then Kenji, they're gonna fall. Him and Jackie Chan, they're gonna fall, but he lets go of his hands. He falls down to his death, CGI style. I mean, even with John Lone's death, his villainous death in the end of Rush Hour 2, that was more of a practical fall. I thought it was a decent high fall when he lands on the cab. Decent, literally a decent stunt fall. Here is this he's this CGI when he falls down. That's lame. And then they get shot at. Then they end up parachuting. Him and Chris Tucker end up parachuting with the French flag. CGI their way down. Like I said, I don't see how this one cost $140 million. I don't see the budget on this. Well, like I said, mostly because most of it went to the payments of our three crewmen. Chan, Tucker, and Ratner. And then Max von Sydow shows up. Then George the taxi driver shoots him. Case closed. And then Roman Polanski shows up. Saying, "Oh, congratulations! It looks like we brought down the trials." And they're like, "What? You didn't do shit." Although that's another positive to say. Then, because they both say they're saying for the first two movies. I go this way and I go this way, and they both boom. They double punch Roman Polanski in the face. So, okay, cool. Yeah, please, double punch him in the face. And then the end where they're doing their usual dance like this to War from the first movie. War, what is it good for? Okay, nice to hear that song again though. But the song was better heard in the first movie. And even the outtakes I didn't think was funny either. The outtakes in the first two movies were funny. Here, it wasn't. Although, actually, one of the outtakes in this, I think actually Jackie Chan he did hurt himself, because there was a scene where he was fighting with that villain woman earlier, and he was like flipping this big table with his feet. There was an outtake where he actually it hits him here in the chest, and he was not breathing. It was oh, like that. I think that was actually where he actually hurt himself right there. So, but the rest of it was not that funny though. Even the outtakes. So yeah, Rush Hour 3. It was just disappointing. I mean, they're trying Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, their chemistry, they're still trying their best. I can still see they're still trying their best for their chemistry with each other as Inspector Lee and Detective Carter. But their relationship for the first movie was much better. Much more scripted and humor, funny, and the relationship they had. It was better than the first two movies. Here, they're still trying though, but it's a step down. Like I said, the action was a step down. The villains were lamer than the first two ones. Much more lamer. I mean, Max von Sydow, may he rest in peace. I like him though, but we already knew he was already a bad guy. I already knew he was a bad guy. Hiroyuki Sanada as Inspector Lee's his adopted brother. He was a lame villain. You're supposed to sympathize because he's Lee's adopted brother. No. Didn't care about George, the taxi driver. Didn't care about him. Oh, so he hates Americans. Now he wants to. Now he's all for American things. He's wearing a baseball Lakers cap and all that. I'm like, I didn't care about him. And Roman Polanski, I didn't care about him at all, which I thought was a positive, where they both punch him in the face. But some of the humor, I think the humor was best used in the beginning and less in the later half of the second half of the movie. It was all good in the first half of the movie, but that was it. The whole thing with the dojo, the fight in the dojo, I liked, and then with the French guy, interrogating the French guy, I liked. It was funny. That was basically it, you know. It's like all the good humor was used up just for the first half of the movie and nothing in the second half. So yeah, and what else? The score, once again, Leo Schifrin comes back to do the score like he did for the previous two films, but the score is nothing. The score was mediocre compared to the scores in the first two movies. Yeah, so that's another thing. The score was lame. Like I said, the fights was a step down. Big step down to me, I think it was. And director Brett Ratner, probably because they wanted to do a third film, so that's why they had to bring him back. And now there's talk of a fourth one. To me, it's too late. It's years too late. Although maybe, like I said, now because since I enjoyed Bad Boys for Life, which it was a sequel that came out years later after this about Bad Boys 2, because they wanted to do with Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, a fifth Lethal Weapon movie, a fourth Beverly Hills Cop, and now with a fourth Rush Hour. I'm sorry. I know it's years later. Unless they do something like Bad Boys for Life, though, I'm not all for it no more. It's years later. It's me because Jackie Chan is much older now, and he's not able to do like he did with even 2000. This was from 2007 though. He was like a little bit slower. So, and Chris Tucker, he hasn't done nothing since. He hasn't done nothing. Like all the times we did with the Rush Hour movies, he hasn't done anything in between the Rush Hour movies. Like 1998, the first one, he hasn't done nothing since 2000 until 2001. We did number 2, and then after that, he hasn't done nothing from Rush Hour 2 all the way till 2007 for the third movie, and he hasn't done nothing since his role in 2012 in Silver Linings Playbook, and then a few years later to what was it, Billy something, The Long Walk, whatever. And he hasn't done nothing since then. So yeah, to me, Rush Hour 4 ain't gonna happen. And to me, it's not gonna happen. It's years too late for that now. So yeah, Rush Hour 4, no. And I forgot to mention this. I forgot to even mention when I reviewed the first two movies. This even came out with a short-lived TV show of the same name, and of course they got different people playing our main two leads. But I never saw it, never cared for it, because you can't do better with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, especially for the first movie. I saw previews of it. It looked lame anyway, so I never bothered with the TV show. I'm not gonna watch it because you can't do Chris Tucker or Jackie Chan repeating it for the first movie. So I never bother with the TV show. Plus, it got canceled their first season. I don't blame them. So yeah, and I disagree with this. Full of action? No, the action was a step down. What else? Fast-paced, action-packed, and very funny? No. Totally disagree on the action part. But there were some funny moments I did like, but it was only at the beginning of the movie, and that was it. So yeah, that's my review on Rush Hour 3. Disappointing sequel. A step down. Big step down, I would say. But I hope you enjoyed my review of the 3 Rush Hour movies. First one, love it. Classic. Second film, still love it. Enjoyable sequel. A little bit better than the first one. But here, step down. Now, it's not one of the worst sequels. Definitely no. There's a whole lot of sequels I thought are worse than this. But it's not full on Rant. It's just a disappointing sequel. That's it. Disappointing sequel. Let down, basically. Step down, yeah. But yeah, that's my little rant on Rush Hour 3. Hope you enjoyed my review of these. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next movie review. Later.